Ever feel like you're pouring money into marketing but not seeing the revenue growth you'd expect? Hi there, I'm Charlie from Growth Dynamics, and I help companies with long consideration funnels to optimize their go-to-market. Today, we're diving into a critical issue that many CFOs and executives face: understanding what really matters in marketing and why focusing on the wrong objective can hold your company back. Stick around because we're uncovering some misconceptions that could be costing your company big time. In today's fast-paced market, customer buying behaviors have changed dramatically. I recently spoke with a CEO who was frustrated. Despite significant investment in marketing, the expected revenue growth just wasn't there. They were tracking all the standard metrics, but something wasn't adding up. Sounds familiar? For executives like you, understanding the real impact of marketing isn't just beneficial, it's essential. Misaligned marketing efforts can drain resource, stall growth, and erode your competitive edge. So, how do we shift from chasing vanity metrics to implementing strategy that generally boosts revenue and enterprise value? Let's dive into this together. Let's start by tackling marketing qualified leads, or MQLs. For years, MQLs have been the go-to metric. The idea is simple. The more leads means more sales, but in reality, it isn't always better. The more leads often leads to less profit. For the story, I work with a company whose marketing increased the MQL by 50% year on year, and this led to the sales team refusing to work those leads. The conversion rate of the leads were so low that it was not financially interesting for the sales team to work with them. This target can create a massive misalignment between your sales team and marketing. I had to dig into those leads, understand what is working and what isn't. I categorize leads into 4 buckets, in this order. First, inbound. The user voluntarily gets into contact with a company to solve a problem. The second, warm outbound. The sales team reach out to a prospect who already knows the company, what the company solves, and has a good opinion about it. This includes lead gen ads and emails sent to a warm audience, people familiar with our brand and offering. Then we have the cold outbound. The sales team contacts a prospect who isn't aware of the company or what the company solves. And then finally, the cold leads. Leads created by an audience that isn't ready to buy, often coming from gated assets, lead gen ads targeting a cold audience or non-branded search terms. The more you focus on the first 2 categories, inbound and warm outbound, the more effective your marketing becomes. The common denominator of the 2 first categories is brand. To increase these 2 types of leads, you need to invest in brand. Problem is that with an MQL objective, you do not give marketing the incentive to do so. We can't measure brand investment is the biggest misconception in marketing measurement. Brand investment increases inbound traffic, the proportion of warm outbound traffic, and therefore the conversion rate of opportunities. It's also improved the retention rate and reduced sales cycles. All of these can be measured against metrics that matters for the company, in contrast to MQL and touchpoint. Companies focusing on brand outperform, and companies focusing on sales activation underperform. It's a business fundamental. As Warren Buffett says, your brand is your moat. Instead of MQLs, let's shift our focus to metrics that truly matter. Customer acquisition cost payback, profit margin, go-to-market efficiency, and growth rate, to name a few. These indicators can directly reflect your marketing impact on revenue and enterprise value. By concentrating on them, you align marketing efforts with business objectives. One function that you will have to solve for go-to-market efficiency is how much to allocate to sales and how much to allocate to marketing. Over-invest in one of the 2 and you leave money on the table. Predictable revenue and sales-focused go-to-market strategy does not work anymore and is very costly. Remember the 2 types of leads that outperform: inbound and warm outbound. Investing in brand marketing will increase those and therefore the performance of your sales team. An effective marketing strategy should provide value before purchase, keeping your brand top of the mind for the buyers. Once your buyers are ready, their shortlist based on what they've seen over the past month. Remember that brand also increases retention rate, which is a key for long-term success, and to get that growth rate up. If you have a 5% monthly churn rate, you'll have to replace half of your customer base each year to break even, not even grow. Now let's talk about multi-touch attribution, or MTA. On the surface, MTA seems like a comprehensive way to measure marketing effectiveness. It tracks every touch point a customer has before making a purchase, right? But here's the catch, it does not. Data does not exist and the demand creation is missed in MTA. While multi-touch attribution can offer some surface-level insight, it does not capture the full customer journey or the nuances of how demand is truly created. I worked with a company generating $500 million in revenue. The MTA model attributes only 1% of revenue to a particular channel. But when we dug deeper, we found that this channel was actually driving 30% of the revenue. The MTA had grossly underestimated the impact because it couldn't capture the top of funnel activities, potentially costing tens of millions of revenue if we didn't spot it. You can easily spot companies using multi-touch attribution when they don't distribute the asset on social media, which is the most cost-effective way to promote the product. Since content distribution on social media isn't easily trackable by MTA, they might avoid it altogether. This is the core problem. When marketing teams rely on MTA to justify their value, they focus on what's trackable rather than what actually drives profit. This approach often leads to overspending on retargeting, an increase in gated assets, which is detrimental to your distribution, and a cannibalization of organic traffic. We'll come back to that later. Ultimately resulting in a much higher customer acquisition cost, which negatively impacts the value of your company. Another major flaw with MTA is its inability to measure incrementality. The actual lift or impact of your marketing effort is its inability to measure incrementality, which is the actual lift or impact of your marketing efforts. It's not because you had a touch point that it automatically contributed to the buyer journey. A very common case when you compare MTA with sales nodes is this one. The MTA says, the user saw LinkedIn ads 50 times, click on 10 marketing emails and fill a paid ad form. And when you read the sales note, it says the user loved the product at the last company and wants to use it in this one. This is very common. It's not an isolated case. It's creating misalignment between your sales and marketing team when you should be fostering collaboration between the two. Last but not least, MTA does not track referral. I worked with an enterprise where I implemented self-attribution and they found that 30% of their revenue was coming from friends, family, and colleagues. Yes, you heard me, 30%. Referral is the strongest channel and easiest to convert. If you only use MTA, you are completely blind and you will wrongly attribute this revenue to marketing initiative. By the way, HubSpot found the same. Finally, brand search campaigns are another area where metrics can be misleading. They often show high conversion. So brand search campaign, what is it? Is it a keyword that includes the name of your brand? They often show a high conversion rate, low customer acquisition cost, but let's question that for a moment. Imagine you walk into a store with two doors. One door is held open by a doorman and you'll naturally take that one. Nice gesture. But if the doorman wasn't there, you'd still enter the store, right? That is brand search for you, sometimes paying for what you would get for free. I've seen large companies waste half of their digital marketing budget on brand search. Complete madness. This drives the customer acquisition cost through the roof, but on paper, it looks great. This is a trick too often used by marketing teams without the executive team being fully aware of the problem. While brand keywords are sometimes necessary, especially in competitive environments, it's crucial to understand the true incremental impact. Otherwise, you might be misallocating your marketing budget. You should always make sure that the performance of paid search is split between brand and non-brand keyword when assessing marketing performance. There are 6 steps to improve measurement and establish a brand measurement-friendly strategy. 1. Focus on what drives revenue, not what's trackable. Don't let marketing team use MTA to justify the value. You should ensure your marketing strategy considers what actually drives revenue rather than just what's easy to measure. Brand marketing impacts numerous important business metrics, all of which are measurable in a meaningful way. By aligning your marketing efforts with financial metrics like customer lifetime value, retention rate, and overall revenue growth, you ensure that every dollar spent contributes to your company bottom line long-term success. 2. Understand the incrementality of your marketing efforts. Test different channels and messages and see what actually moves the needle on revenue, not just click or leads. If you run a social media campaign highlighting customer success story, monitor if there is a subsequent uptick in sales, inquiries, or closed deals. 3. Implement self-attribution forms. An easy and cost-effective way to measure the impact of your brand marketing. Add a simple question to your contact forms like, how did you hear about us? How do you want to work with us? These are extremely powerful questions to understand where demand is created and why. Bonus point, this self-attribution method provides valuable insights that are closer to sales node than generic data you'd get from an expensive MTA tool. Companies like Slack have used this approach to refine the marketing strategy, discovering that word of mouth was a significant driver for new sign-up. Include brand awareness question in outbound communication. That's the number 4. When your sales team reach out to prospect, have them ask if the person has heard of your company before. This not only gathers data on brand awareness, but also help personalize the sales approach. If a significant percentage are already familiar of your brand, that's a strong indicator that your marketing efforts are making an impact, even if it's not immediately reflected in your traditional metrics. Then, monitor correlation with website traffic and engagement. Keep an eye on how your brand building efforts correlate with website traffic and engagement metrics. For instance, if you launch a PR campaign, does your direct website traffic increase? After publishing a thought leadership piece, does the average time spent on your website goes up? These are tangible indicators that your brand marketing is resonating with your audience. According to HubSpot, companies that blog regularly receive 55% more website visitors, showing the power of consistent content in driving engagement. By shifting your focus from solely trackable metrics to strategies that drive real revenue and growth, you'll create a more effective marketing approach. Remember, not everything that counts can be counted, and not everything that can be counted counts. It's about finding the right balance and using practical and cost-effective methods to measure your true value impact. Finally, foster strong relationship and collaboration between your marketing and sales team. Nobody knows your audience better than the sales team. Why to buy, why to choose your company, why now, what are their main challenges, and what are the main worries. A piece of software, no matter how expensive, will never beat that. All of this knowledge is crucial for marketing to understand what the best messaging is, who to talk to, what content to create. A go-to-market strategy is like a sport team. It's not an Henry Ford assembly line as suggested by MQL strategy. Once you build this collaboration, you'll see improvement. Think of this as a transformation journey. You're shifting from the perception of marketing as a cost center, often undervalued and seen as non-essential, to a critical function that directly drives revenue and enhances enterprise value. By focusing on what really matters, you're not just tweaking tactics, you're overhauling your approach to align how customer buys today. To wrap this up, I've discussed how traditional metrics like MQLs and methods like MTA often miss the bigger picture. We have explored how overemphasis on these can lead to misaligned incentive and waste resource. By shifting your focus to revenue-driving metrics and providing value before the purchase, you align marketing with your company financial goals. Remember, it's about quality over quantity, impact over activity. If you found this discussion valuable, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and follow me for more insight on optimizing your go-to-market. Also, check out my other video on the pitfalls of multi-touch attribution for a deeper dive into how you can refine your marketing measurement.